Nancy Pelosi has been in front and center at all the madness happening in D.C. and around the world right now. And we got a lot to talk to her about. Please welcome the fabulous and very smart Nancy Pelosi. So this weekend, you know, this weekend's terror attack in London reignited this call for a travel ban from certain countries to the U.S., and you oppose this. Please explain to folks why.
Well, thank you. It's a very important issue. First, we're so sad about what's happened in the UK and in Manchester before that. So sad. But it is the wrong answer, the travel ban. First of all, the president is calling it a travel ban. His own people who are arguing the case are saying it's not a travel ban. Yes. And what he is saying is to say, ignore the Constitution of the United States. So that's just on that side of it. From the standpoint of achieving a goal, whether it's the military, whether it's the diplomats, whether it's the religious community, whatever element of community that has any interaction in terms of immigration, they're saying the travel ban should not be happening. Stop it. Even the evangelicals say that the U.S. refugee resettlement program is the crown jewel of U.S. humanitarianism. And that's what is being turned on.
The concern by some is about the vetting process, though. I think many are concerned, not that they want to ban anyone based on religion, of course, but that they're concerned about the vetting process on the other end. And of course, we don't want people infiltrating our country who potentially have ties to Al-Qaeda or terrorist ties. So that's the trouble. How do we figure out how to not ban people, but at the same time have proper vetting processes to assure our security and safety?
The refugees coming into the United States, they had the most stringent vetting program of all. But your question is a good one. You said we don't want to ban any on the basis of religion. That's against our Constitution. Yes, it is. But that's exactly what they're doing. But let me also say this. You should always be subjecting vetting to scrutiny to make sure it's doing its job. There's nobody, we have that responsibility, so that isn't even the point. But if you're doing it, they've had, what, 4 months to do it? It was supposed to take 90 days. Then why didn't they just go about their job and do the, subject the vetting to scrutiny? And then we would be at a different place right now.
Yeah.
So again, it is wrong.
Let's talk about this Paris Agreement, because there's been a lot of concern about Trump's withdrawal. Some people are upset, some people aren't. Some of the concern about the way it's written is that we would be giving money to countries to say, lower your greenhouse gas emissions, and then if they don't lower those emissions, there's no penalty for that. And people feel like maybe they agree that climate change needs to be addressed, but through this deal, there's no accountability. Does that concern you?
Has it happened before? No, wait.
Through this deal, there is plenty of accountability. Now, and let me just say, in all fairness to you, what the president based his decision on is a memo that is totally false. It doesn't have factual basis. And that's really a problem. Let's enlarge the issue for this or for healthcare or any other subject. You have to have a factual basis, evidence, data, truth, facts. And the memo that he was given, supposedly by his general counsel or the people at the EPA, was totally not factual. So the point is, this is in America's interest. When I became Speaker, this was my flagship issue. The challenge to this generation to preserve this planet, and working with the evangelicals who believe, as do I, that this planet is God's creation and we have a moral responsibility to be good stewards of it. So that's a moral obligation to pass it on to future generations in the best possible way. But apart from that, the generals came in and said, this is in our national security interest. Having climate change with drought and famine and migration is a national security issue. The business community, as you see, by and large, opposes the president's decision because this is about jobs, 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 jobs. And it's also, and that's keeping America #1. And it's a big health issue for the air our children breathe and our grandchildren breathe. I said, how is President Trump going to ever explain this to his children and his grandchildren, that he didn't care about the air they breathe, the water they drank, or or how
He'll
that
just make
works.
something up like he always does.
Well, no, but I mean,
That's how.
no, but seriously, this is a children's issue.
Yes,
it is.
It's a
It is.
children's
It is,
issue.
absolutely.
And I think children know more about this subject than some of the people advising the president.
Yeah.
So this, whatever we're doing is in our national interest to do so, and that we are the only country, except for Syria, that is not in it. Nicaragua is not in it because they don't think it goes far enough.
Yeah.
It's not. It wasn't
So
good
just
enough.
a war zone. So let's talk about this Thursday, because former FBI Director Comey is about to testify publicly to the Senate Investigation Committee, and he's expected to say that basically Trump pressured him to end his investigation into Russia, which sounds like obstruction of justice. Is this a serious bombshell, and is it grounds for impeachment?
You knew she'd get to that word, right?
She's hopeful. Go ahead.
When that word comes up, I always say to my colleagues in the Congress and my constituents and people across the country what I said before. Anything you do has to be based on data, evidence, facts. So you can speculate, but it's got to be the law and the facts.
Well, he
And how
already
they match up.
But Trump already admitted on television that he said this to Comey, to please stop the investigation into Michael Flynn. He said it.
Well-
What more proof do we need?
Well, I think for the American people need solid evidence.
That's solid.
Well,
I mean, it's an admission of guilt. What more do you need?
Congresswoman, you yourself said that you thought that Comey's behavior was inappropriate, his actions were inappropriate, and that he should be fired. So
no, I never said he should be fired.
Oh.
No. What I said was, when what he did as far as Hillary Clinton was concerned, he couldn't take the heat for it.
You said
And
he was maybe not in the right
maybe
job.
he wasn't in the job if he couldn't take the heat for it. But it was very curious, and I thought that his revealing that investigation, and then later coming back, he had an impact on the election. There's no question about that. But that's a separate issue from whether the President of the United States asked him to stop an investigation of the Russia connection.
Of himself.
Of himself.
Yeah.
So again, let's all take a deep breath. Let's just calm down as a country. This is a very serious matter. There's a possibility of obstruction of justice, flirting with it in any event, coming out of the White House. I think if the president were to say he shouldn't testify, that would be very incriminating for the president.
Let me ask you one more thing on that, and I'll use the I word very sparingly.
Good luck.
The Republican Congress will impeach him. They have no will to impeach him, even if it is obstruction of justice. The Democrats have no power in this. Am I right?
You know what Abraham Lincoln said? Remember this.
Good Republican.
Public sentiment is everything.
That's right.
You are the bosses. That's why the facts have to be presented to you in a way that is clear, juxtaposed with the law, and how that works. But the thing about it all is that whatever you think about Comey and whatever you think about
Him.
Trump.
Right.
number 45, President Trump, the Russians, it is an absolute fact that the Russians hacked, perhaps altered, and dumped, leaked information interfering in our election. And we need to have an outside independent counsel. We have it inside the Justice Department reporting to Trump appointees. We have inside the Republican Congress. All that's good, it's progress. But we need an outside independent commission. Eric Swalwell and Elijah Cummings have that to get the facts in their hands. This is bigger than Democrats and Republicans. It's bigger than politics. It's about our democracy.
Yep.
And the Russians undermining it and doing that in other countries as well.
Well,
And they'll do it again.
Yes,
They'll try to do it.
To them.
You know,
Hopefully.
and we would be sending in folks to check stuff if this were happening in another country. America would be sending in someone to check and make sure that the elections were done legally. So we need somebody to say, hey, yeah, we need to take a look at this. You know, you have to come back. We don't see you often enough. Thanks to Nancy Pelosi. We will.